HP draining was a mechanic that was introduced by Xiao, and since then, only a few characters have followed suit, but never like Xiao. Xiao's self-inflicted karmic aura drains his HP during his burst, and the only other characters that damaged themselves until Fontaine were Hu Tao, Kuki, and then later on, Dehya. Now that Fontaine has been introduced, all of these new characters have been trying to mimic Xiao's Adepti power.
Worthless!
Now, the one standing at the top of Fontaine has premiered, the Hydro Archon Focalor. Is she a power-up for Xiao? I've done quite a few testing, and honestly, it really depends on your roster. Furina is one of the few characters that can be a suitable sub-DPS for Xiao. A common concept with Xiao is that you don't want to give him too much damage percent bonus because he already gets so much from his burst, but Furina gives damage percent on steroids. So yes, Xiao will still greatly benefit from her buff. She also gives a ton of off-field damage, which will really contribute to faster clear times. With all of that being said, Xiao's best partner before Furina is without a doubt the premium unit, C6 Farazan. Because we're needing a C6 4-star character, it can be a bit tough to comprise his best team. That team consists of Xiao, Farazan, Zhongli, and Bennett, the perfect team for damage and survivability. With the introduction of Furina, Xiao now has more viable team options that don't include C6 Farazan, and on top of that, if you want to go full offense, you can squeeze out a sizable chunk of damage. The best team in most cases that include Furina is going to be Xiao, Furina, Zhongli, and Bennett. For this video, my Furina is C2, so if you have C0, then the damage will ramp up a lot later, and the numbers will be about 5 to 20k less than what you're seeing here. I was surprised with her performance here, as it's pretty good. You will need to run a decent amount of ER on her, and have at least one Favonius user. In this case, I'm using Jean, of course. The team-wide damage will also increase, as you can see, against his 70% Animo-resistant boss, I'm still able to clear it thanks to Furina. Although, I could clear it with my Farazan, of course, because she shreds Animo resistance, but that's besides the point. Here's a test run of Xiao, Furina, Jean, and Zhongli versus the C6 Farazan iteration of the team with Bennett. As you can see, while the team with Bennett is doing more damage, overall, the team is doing way more damage with Furina because of her off-field elemental application. But keep in mind, this is a C2 Furina. I think that it would be much more comparable if Furina was at C0. Now, the thought was that Xiao's HP tick helps add to the fanfare generation by Furina, but it's actually not that impactful at all. Since he can't heal himself, it only really helps very slightly. He will generate 30 fanfare over the entire duration of his burst, so it's very minimal. Furina's ability to attack with no restrictions, however, is really a gem among units like Xiao who don't rely on normal attacks. At the end of the day though, I think that Xiao's better option is to use Bennett, which brings us to our other team. Xiao, Furina, Jean, and Bennett. Xiao benefits a lot from attack because of how his burst works, and Bennett is the one to provide that buff. If you're using Vermilion though, Furina will be much more valuable as Xiao gets a ton of attack percent. Now, this team is pretty powerful, but you have no defense, well, besides the abundant healing. I prefer running Xiao with a shield, but you could definitely forego the shield and add more damage if you can manage. The best defense is a good offense after all. And so, the verdict. Yes, Furina is a fine sub-DPS for Xiao, and can help clear things way faster. She is comparable to a C6 Farazan buff, and if you have Furina at C2, Xiao will be able to put out some really good numbers. You'll have to really build around the ER requirements of the team, however, but it's not too bad if you pair him with Jean, along with Favonius weapons. With Furina on the team, you can be freed from the shackles of Bennett and tied to the shackles of Jean. At least, you won't be playing Circle Impact with Jean. But for those of you with C4 Jean, you get to take advantage of that juicy Animo Shred. The HP draining on Xiao never really made sense to me, but with the Vermilion set, he can get a nice buff from it. Now, all of these characters come in and want to take a page out of Xiao's book and copy our Yaksha. As Xiao would say, "Foolish mortal, you merely mimic a fraction of my power. I was born in these karmic bonds. Useless!" Still here? Great. Only about 1% of you all are subscribed. Since you made it to the end of the video, you may as well like the video and subscribe, right? It's a win-win for the both of us. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time, Enigma out.